Your reaction to the Prime Minister's speech?
I think it was very disappointing, really. I think that he needed to offer some new vision in response to the very poor performance that he'd had in the confidence vote, and he didn't really come up with anything. It was a few reheated sound bites about reducing regulation here, and there was some stuff about reducing tariffs on bananas and olive oil, and the main thing was this rather misconceived policy on facilitating higher mortgages for homeowners, which will have three kinds of main effects. That will make it a little bit easier for those people to acquire a house. It will mean that the house prices go up, so it gets more expensive for everybody who's not in that category to have a house. And thirdly, because you're managing higher mortgage lending, that will tend to boost the money supply, and as a consequence of that, we'll see inflation go up a little bit more. So he's made his choice. It wouldn't have been what I'd done.
It's so interesting that he said, he announced those 95% mortgages just minutes after saying you can't borrow your way out of inflation, you can't spend your way out of inflation, and you can't tax your way to growth. Did his words match his actions?
Absolutely not. They were literally talking about helping people to buy houses with your money. Right, so we're going to have benefits pay for people to buy houses. And then there's all this stuff about how the market does things better. But then he was talking as if you have money that goes on rent, then that doesn't facilitate extra house building and so on. Well, why is it any better for people to be buying houses in terms of boosting housing supply than for people to be renting houses? They buy, the people who rent out houses, they have them built and then they rent them out to the poorer people. And that's a perfectly good economic mechanism. It's not clear to me what the government rationale is for paying benefits in order for people to buy houses. That's very strange.
Yes, inflation in other areas too, he touched upon. Because, of course, inflation is running at 9%, expected to go even higher still. He didn't say anything specifically about how that inflation would come down. What would you have him do?
Well, I would have him say what inflation rate he wants to have this year and next year, and say what the consequences would be for the Bank of England if it's not met. I would have thought at this stage, we've got to the point at which you say, if you don't meet the 2023 target, then we're going to revoke Bank of England independence and fire the whole MPC. That's probably what I would do at this point. What you would do is you'd pick a rate, and then you would make the rest of policy help achieve that rate. So, for example, you might say, well, we're going to assume that the public sector pay deals are based on our target rate instead of what the rate's going to actually be. You pre-announce what the benefits would be, how much the rail fares are going to go up and so on the basis of the actual rate. You don't do things like having government regulatorily encouraged additional bank lending to boost the money stock, exactly the kind of thing that he's done today. You try to make your government all work together to achieve your objective. And they just don't have a target. They don't have an economic policy at all. So the rest of policy can't align with whatever their central inflation goal is because they don't have one.